as close as possible. And thank you for being here and being available. I appreciate that.
Oh, no problem at all. Thank you. I appreciate it.
So let me introduce myself. My name is Alan DiGregorio. I'm the manager of the desktop support team here at Jackson Hewitt. Are you familiar with Jackson Hewitt? Do you know what we do?
Oh yeah, tax. I've used your tax services many a moon.
Ah,
Yeah.
cool, cool. So we have about 6,000 offices throughout the country, and they call us with any type of computer network, computer peripherals, or program issues. When I say program, I mean the program we provide them to prepare taxes with. You know, about 60% of these offices are franchise owned. The other
Okay.
40% is company owned. So
Okay.
again, some are owned privately by franchisees, others are company owned stores. And at any given time, they can call us with issues and problems. So you can remember these people are tax people, they're not computer people.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So they need somebody that can speak the technical jargon without making it sound convoluted.
Yeah, yeah, and not making them sound stupid, but we have remote software we can remote into their computers and look at the issue firsthand and try to resolve it for them.
Yes, sir.
So tell me about your computer background and your experience, resolving problems, troubleshooting.
Okay. Um, I kind of started off in the game as in a person in an internship. I was a person in my neighborhood that was fixing all of the computers, and so what I did is I decided to enroll into a plus certification program at the Minneapolis Urban League. That was around, geez, when was that? 2008. And so I took a internship at a nonprofit called the Colin Powell Center, Urban Ventures. They were building basically like a gym, and Colin Powell came and spoke and everything. So I was kind of helping
Ah,
put some of that infrastructure in. I was there about a year. That's how I learned about Active Directory and imaging computers with Norton Ghost. I have probably haven't seen Norton Ghost except on eBay in many years. And then I went to Robert Half and I started a 4-month contract with a ostomy bag corporation called Coloplast. And then I went on and kind of rode the Windows 7 migration wave with Blue Cross, Blue Shield, Travelers Insurance, Department of Urban Development. Pretty much everybody that was doing the Windows 7 migrations here in Minneapolis, St. Paul. I pretty much was on them. Minco Products, that was a big manufacturing firm out of Columbia Heights. I primarily have like an infrastructure background. My last Windows 7 contract was with AIG, which was a big insurance company out here in Oakdale, Minnesota, and we became a remote site from New York. So New York would ship their laptops to be imaged because we had a real good image. Thank God we had a real good packaging engineer on our team that could, basically make everything pixie boot and move all the data over all in one script. I think the big change in my career came when after that Windows 7 migration lead position, I became a Citrix administrator for a company called Syntax. So I was doing some managed service support there. And the big break in the most important part of my career was being a technical trainer. So my job was basically to do a poverty alleviation in Minneapolis, St. Paul, and to pretty much create black IT professionals. So I was working with a corporation, a nonprofit called the Cyber Corp, and I was doing Microsoft certification training for the 98 366, the Microsoft Technology Associate Program, bringing people out to the data center out here in Edina, Minnesota, working with resumes, bringing in travelers, insurance executives, and having them come by. Sometimes we would cater some jerk chicken and have everybody dress up in their Sunday's best and bring tech systems and recruiting firms out. And I got like 100 people certified and hired in a 7-year period. So
wow.
we took people from a lot of impoverished areas that was making anywhere between $10 to $12 an hour at what they would call dead end jobs. And now there's people that even there's some people that used to be in my program that are now cybersecurity engineers in the Navy and in the Pentagon, probably making anywhere between 65 to $150,000. So
Wow.
that was a big part of my career. I would do that after working as a Citrix admin. I would go to the Minneapolis Park Board in South Minneapolis, and then what I would do is I would train these folks and get the resumes together. And the last couple of years, I've been doing more like API work. The current contract that'll be ending with Optum is like doing API support with Postman and things of that nature. So
Hmm.
that's pretty much my background. There's other contracts that
Oh,
probably wouldn't have fit on the resume. But besides like the API support and the Citrix, I did do some Salesforce business analysis work at a nonprofit called Hiawatha Academies. And basically, you have several different instances in Tableau and Salesforce and things of that nature. Um, and I kind of used some of my technical training background for that because there was a managed service provider where I was kind of liaison between them. I didn't have any system access with that, but they knew that because I had like an admin background, they could count on me to kind of talk to IT, and I could fix most of the issues, so they don't have to call IT. I just didn't have any AD credentials or anything. So um, yeah, you know how that goes.
all
Sometimes
right.
you don't have the
Yeah.
tools to fix what you need, but you can direct the people to fix the issue.
Right. Right. Well, that's good. You got a nice, diverse background. That's for sure. That's for sure. You've done a number of things. Let me explain about our systems.
Okay,
So they're basically Windows 10 or 11 computers
all right,
that would be in an office. The office could have anywhere from 2 to 6 or 10 computers. They're
okay,
all set up, wired together, Ethernet together to a switch, then to a router, then to a modem.
okay,
We don't support any wireless connections at all due to the sensitive nature of tax returns. So
okay.
everything has to be hardwired. Nothing can be wireless, not even the printers.
Well, that's actually good because Wi-Fi it could drop off packets at any given time. But yeah, you don't see
Yep.
environments like that too often. But that's pretty good.
Yep. And we don't use Active Directory or domains. They're just Windows workgroups, Windows peer-to-peer networking. That's all it is.
Okay, old school. Okay,
Yep. Yep. Keeping it simple. So dumb yourself down. Keep it simple.
yeah.
So let's say, for example, I just have two computers on my network, your computer and my computer. But your computer can't see my computer. Why is that? Why? How do you troubleshoot that? So my computer is basically set up as the server. Yours is set up as a workstation. Now, when I say server, it's not a Windows server. It's just another Windows computer. But I have some shared folders that you need to access. But you can't access my computer. How would you start troubleshooting that?
Well, I probably would go into. It's been a while since I did, but I probably go into work groups and I would see if the folders are shared. I know there's an option in Windows in the operating system where you can actually share that computer on the network. You could turn that on and off. So that would
Hmm.
probably be one of the issues. Now, if you're just saying that it can't share, but it has internet access, then there's no reason to go into the to deal with the ISP nor the router or the modem for that matter.
Right.
I
Right.
think that would just be a direct share, a sharing option in the operating system,
Well, I'm
making it
checking my
discoverable.
computer. Yep, I'm checking my computer and it does say it's shared. But when you try to access my computer, it says computer not accessible. And then sometimes you might get a username and password prompt when you try to access my computer. Why would
Uh,
you get a username and password prompt?
well, either that computer is not on the local domain. If there is, like you mentioned something about it not being on a domain, um,
Yeah, we don't use
we
domains.
don't use
Yeah.
any domains. Well, in that case, uh, I can check and see, are these folders shared under the properties. I can see if these specific folders were shared. I could see if that laptop that's not getting the access, I could see, or desktop that's not getting the access, I could see if in fact it's been set to be discoverable. I could
Mhm.
check that as well.
Any idea why I'd be prompted for a username and password? You'd be getting a username and password prompt on your end, so you can see my computer. When you double click on my computer to access it, you'll get a username and password prompt. Why is that? And what username and password do you put in?
I think you would need to have local admin access to add that computer. Uh,
Okay.
you can check that. You can check if the person's using those correct credentials for that work group. Um, and then there might be under users and groups, you could see if anybody has been enabled there.
Okay. All right. That's a good start. Yeah, you're in the right direction. You're in the right direction. You got the idea.
Uh,
Usually the issue is it's asking for the username and password because your computer, you're logged in as Derek with a password of Derek. When it tries to access my computer, your account is not set up on my computer. So it says, who's Derek and who's his pet? What? I don't know Derek. So it asks you for a username and password. It's looking for a username and password of a current user set up on my computer. So I would have to add you as a user on my computer
under
so you
users and
can
groups.
access my computer. Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
so they
So
could be as
then
a
once
local
you were
admin.
added, then yep, yep. Once we add you to my computer, now you have permission to access it. It's almost like it's looking for a guest list. And it sees Derek come across and it says, let me look at my list here. No, I don't see Derek. He's not allowed in. So we have to add you as a local user for you to be able to access my computer.
Oh
But
yeah.
either way, we go over that during our training. I just
Okay,
want to
yeah.
see
It's
you're
been
in
a
the right
while. It's
direction.
been a while. I had to
Right.
take the Active Directory, the trees and the forests.
Uh-huh.
I had to take that out of the equation.
Here's some others. This is some simple questions.
Okay.
A lot of people don't know it because they don't do it every day. Simple question. How do I rename my computer?
You can go into. Let me think. You could go into properties. You could right
Uh-huh.
click. Where is that at? You could go into the. Well, I since I don't have my computer in front of me, like, well, I would say right click my computer, and go into properties, and then usually uh, it's a domain name, but in a regular work group, you should be able to just change it there.
Yep. Yeah, you're close. You're in the right area. You're familiar with that. Speaking about domain names, how would I check to see if it was set for a domain or a work group?
And you could go in that same area, or
Yep.
if you have admin access, you could actually you could go into the command line. Um, I don't think you could do it through IP config all, but I think it's not trace route. Trying to remember where it's at again. Um, Another way you can go is if you go to like the bottom right hand corner, you can go into like network properties and you could also find it there under
Okay.
details, and
Mhm.
there's it's several different ways.
Okay. Now, again, not using Active Directory, how would I just add a new user to a computer?
You could go into my computer, you could right click properties, and you could go under sharing. You could I think you could do it that way as well.
No, it's not sharing. I want to add a new user. So when I
Oh,
reboot the computer, the username comes up. Oh, might have two or three usernames.
well, with Windows 11, you can actually go into the taskbar and you could get search, users and groups, and then you could add it that way too.
Okay. Yep. Users and groups. Then what? Users from that point.
I would say users. If you wanted to
Okay.
add a user, you could, yeah, go to users.
Okay. Now, how do I give that user admin permissions?
Well, typically there's a couple different choices. It might say power user or full admin access and whatnot. It'll be a couple different choices in the cursor to do so,
Cool. Cool.
or drop down, that
Now,
is.
yep. No, you're right. You're in the right area. I mentioned we don't use wireless and we try to keep the networks as secure as possible. How would I check to see if my computer is set for a public or private network?
You can also go into typically go into the bottom right hand corner into network settings, and
Mhm.
under properties you could find that as well.
Cool. Yep, you're right. Again, your computer, my computer. How would I share a folder on my computer so it's accessible from you for you on your computer?
You could go to the folder, you could right click sharing settings, and then you could make those modifications there as well in the sharing tab.
Okay. Okay. Any experience with printers, setting up printers on the
Um,
network?
well, mainly network printers, USB as well. The last time I think I put in a USB printer, uh, without going into the Windows update was, installing with like a CD. But just for, I guess, for network sake, I would just, um, you could click on add, and you could search printers, and then you can add whatever printer is in the network through the printer wizard. You can also do it through the device manager as well. I mean, that's clicking a whole bunch of extra buttons, but you could do it there as well. If you wanted to share that printer, if you're setting up that one printer, let's say you have one printer, but you don't want to have to install the drivers into each individual computer, you can share the printer. You could add the printer. You could open up you could right click into properties, and you could do the sharing settings, and you can modify those for that work group.
Okay.
Sometimes it's a
No, that
case where, you know, now once you've added that printer, and then let's say you have three or four other different desktops, you can you can log into those desktops, and if that printer is shared, you could add it there. If it's a network printer, you could just punch in, let's say it's 192.168.0.1 or whatever the case may be. You can just punch in the IP address if in fact that's a network printer, and then a lot of times it'll just pull those drivers off the internet, or out of
okay.
Windows 10.
All right. No, good. Excellent. Do you have any experience with scanners or connecting a scanner? I say a USB type scanner.
Yeah, I do have experience with that. Most of the time, Windows has a lot of those generic drivers, but if they don't, you can download those. I'm not sure if you guys got like a firewall or anything blocking from, online drivers or
No,
not. If you
no.
don't, you can actually go on the website, and you could download those depending on,
Cool.
wherever it hosts those drivers.
Cool. Uh, this is a really simple one. Again, I say we don't support wireless networks. How would you tell if you remoted into somebody's computer really quickly if they were using Wi-Fi?
How would I
What's the
tell if they're
quickest way to tell?
if if
Keep
if
it
they're
simple.
okay? Okay. Typically in the taskbar, you could open up the
Uh-huh.
taskbar and you can find some of those processes. That's one way. Another way, if you want to go in detail, I don't know how much detail you want me to go into, but
Now,
you
simple
can check
away.
the
Simple
ports.
away.
Uh,
Simple
th-
away, Derek.
yeah,
Look at your computer. Look at
yeah.
the right-hand side.
You'll see like an icon, like if it's team viewer or something like that, or if it's Zoom, the bottom right hand corner will typically, will show. You could just kind of click the little caret, and then it'll show that there is, remote session going on.
No, not a remote session, but if I'm using Wi-Fi to connect to the internet.
Oh,
I-
so you
I-
just want to know if I'm connected to
yeah,
Wi-Fi. Oh,
yeah,
yeah, Windows 11, like right now I'm connected to Wi-Fi. You'll just have the
right.
little radar. Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like a little satellite radar. Exactly. That's the
Right.
quickest way.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's why I said keep it simple. Keep it simple. Right there on the right-hand side. So again, if you're remoted into someone's computer, you can say, "Hey, wait a minute, you're using Wi-Fi. We can't. That's not correct. We need to get you wired. For compliance to be a compliant office, and for compliance reasons, you need to be hardwired. I see you using Wi-Fi. Do you have any NIC cables in the office there? We need to get this connected properly to the network, not through Wi-Fi."
Now, if they don't have a cable for some reason, would somebody probably get shipped them out one, and then they get connected by
No,
that way?
no, it's up to them to provide their own equipment and
Oh,
all the
okay.
peripherals. Again,
Okay.
these are a lot of them are franchise owned, so they purchase their own equipment. They can purchase any equipment they want. It doesn't have to come from Jackson Hewitt. We don't sell equipment. You can buy any computer you want. You can buy any network devicing you want, any printers you want. It's all up to you.
Okay. Okay. All right.
Yeah, we don't have certain manufacturers or certain computers they can buy and not buy. It's all up to them. It just has to be Windows 10 or 11, off the shelf computers.
Now, do we support any of their email functions, or more so
No,
just from a break fix standpoint into the peripherals and the desktop itself?
that's it. The peripherals, the network, the computer itself, and the software, we provide them to prepare taxes. That's it.
Okay, okay. I just want to make sure, so somebody says, "Hey, I
Yep.
want to configure Wireshark on my AWS instance," and I can
No,
say, "Up."
no, no, no.
Okay,
Uh, so our training class begins November 20th, and
okay,
it's going to be from 11 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. Eastern time. Are
okay.
you available for that time frame? Would that fit into your schedule?
It will.
Okay. Now, after the training class, once December comes, we're open from 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. Monday through Friday, then Saturday and Sunday from 10 a.m. to 9 p.m. So do you
Okay.
think you can fit into those schedules sometime?
Yeah, yeah. I could do
Something that's
weekends.
good for you? Are
Yep.
you a morning person or an evening person? What do you prefer?
I'd say evening. I could do either
Good.
way, but evening, I would say.
All right. I didn't notice. Are you East Coast, Central Time?
I'm
Where are you
Central
located,
Standard.
Derek?
Yeah, yes, sir. I'm
Central. All right.
Central Standard. Yeah.
So I guess you're an hour behind us,
Yes, sir.
where
Yes, sir.
we are on the East Coast.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Cool.
Are you now? Is this
Cool.
is it like a ticketing system you guys have, or is it like a high
Yes,
call
it
volume
is.
call center?
Well, it's both. So you're going to be receiving calls, and you have to create a ticket
Okay.
documenting what you did. So you receive the call. You ask for the caller's name, the caller's telephone number in case you get disconnected. All that you have to fill out a ticket for that caller.
Okay.
Then you put in the subject line what the issue is. Then you start typing in steps you took to resolve the issue. This way, if you can't resolve the issue, you can transfer it to a tier two person, and the tier two person can see the steps you already have taken.
Okay. Okay. Um.
And also, each of these tickets, when completed, the caller actually gets a copy of them in email. So they
Oh.
get an emailed
Okay.
copy of your ticket, all the steps you took. This way, if they have the issue again or have it on another computer, they can look in the back in those emails and see the steps you took and try to do the same thing themselves.
Okay. Do we have a certain amount of time where it's like, okay, you have to solve this within 5 minutes or 3 minutes or something like that?
Oh, it's usually about 20 minutes or so before we ask you to transfer it to a tier two, depending on the issue itself. It could be it's taking longer than normal because it's a very slow computer.
Okay.
So that's possible too. You're trying to take the steps needed, but the computer is running so slow, it's
Right.
taking longer than normal to resolve an issue. Or you had to reboot, and during the reboot process, now it's running Windows updates.
Right.
So
Yeah. Okay.
you're stuck hanging around while the Windows updates are going. But again, the tier twos and the supervisors can see the amount of time you're on a call, and they'll send you an IM. How much longer? Is there something we can help you with? How do you stand on this call? And you can just type back. Had to reboot. Now it's running Windows update, so it's going to be a few minutes just to keep them informed if they reach out to you.
Okay. Okay. That's fair.
But as far as call volume, you'll most likely receive call after call most of the day.
Okay.
So, you get two 15-minute breaks, a 30-minute lunch, and some personal breaks in between there. But other than that, you'll probably be, receiving call after call. We're very busy.
Okay. Okay. That's fine. I've been
It's
there.
not an easy job. It's not an easy job. I mean, I know I've talked to some people, they say, well, if I get three or four calls a day, that's about it. No, you're going to probably get 15 to 20, depending on how many you can handle within a given amount of 8 hours.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you're going to
Typical
be
call
a
center.
busy person.
Typical call center. Yeah. I've seen instances where it was, I mean, like 50, but those are like during a P1 where the whole network, went down and stuff. But it all depends. Yeah.
Yep. Yep. Well, again, 50, well, in an instant an issue like that, you just say, "Oh yeah, the network is down. Oh yeah, our network is down," and you finish the call. In our case, we'll post that up on our website so they know before they call that there's an ongoing issue, or we call it a critical alert.
Hmm.
And if we do have a critical alert where something is down, we put that into the phone system where they'll hear that in the phone system before they even reach you.
Okay. Okay.
So in case they're calling for an issue like that, they'll hear it before the call even gets to you
Okay.
for
Okay.
critical alerts, system outages, things like that.
Okay. Okay. And now, do you guys typically pick our shifts, or is it kind of like shifts where you mentioned earlier something about being a morning or a afternoon person?
Yep. So we have about three different shifts, and you'll put in your preferences. You'll put in your preferences, what days, what are your hour preferences, and that goes to our workforce management team, and they schedule people from there.
Okay. Okay. Work for.
But
Okay. Yeah.
but it'll go by preferences. You know,
Okay.
you'll get two or three different shifts that would be available for you. You select the ones you want, like a preference one, a preference two, a preference three, and
Okay. That's
usually
flexible.
you'll get the first. Usually get the first preference. Usually you get the first one.
That's pretty flexible.
But anything else I can answer for you because I got to get to my next interview in
Yeah,
2 minutes.
I got two quick focal
Yes.
questions, and I'll let you get going. And thank you for sharing that time. The first question is, you said this contract will go until, did you say March or April?
Well,
Or
most likely sometime in March as our call volume starts to diminish in March
okay,
because tax season ends in April. And usually by the end of March, just around April, most of our calls are tax related calls,
okay,
which you won't be answering. You know, basically they got all their hardware and software issues resolved by then. Now their concern is tax related issues. So
okay, okay,
rejects that they receive from the IRS, difficult tax returns they need assistance with, something you guys would not be handling, or my team would not be handling. We have a tax team that handles that specifically.
okay. And you said that so the next steps would be, I would know if I was offered a position in like another week or two, or
Should be by the end of this week. Yeah.
okay.
I write up the summary, send it over to HR, and they'll be contacting you sometime this week, I hope.
Okay, okay, that'll work. That'll work.
And
Well,
and and if everything goes well, I'll see you on November 20th.
yeah.
I hope to, anyways.
Let's hope that. Yeah, I think yeah. Okay. Well, yeah. I don't think I have any other questions. I think we pretty much covered our bases. I'm looking forward to continue the
Appreciate it.
conversation. I'm most obliged on your
Same thing
time.
here. Same thing here. Thank you so much. We'll see
Thank
you
you.
then.
Take
Bye,
care.
Eric.
Bye. And there we go.